So let me start preparing the vegetables for our shakshuka as we do week 2 review. You know, that recipe is also on my channel, so if you want to know how to do a shakshuka, it's there, it's available. And since, you know, it's kind of hard to get up really early to cook a shakshuka, the sauce itself is supposed to cook at least 20-30 minutes at least. So instead, I'm doing the sauce tonight, so all she has to do is, you know, get a nice little fried egg in the morning. That's one thing we do. It often calls for soft boiled eggs or hard boiled eggs or poached eggs, all of which are a little time consuming. So what we usually do instead, we've been doing just fried eggs with very minimal oil. I mean, there's some oil involved. The thing about the advantage of poached, soft boiled, and hard boiled is that there's no oil involved in cooking the eggs. That reduces your calorie intake as well. But we're doing small amounts, so we should be fine. So right now I'm getting the vegetables ready for our shakshuka, but let's review week 2. This is week 2 in review. Let's see what we found out with week 2. Well, you know one thing, a couple of things right off the bat. Now we've had to adjust things. We're going to adjust for week 3. Instead of doing lunch and dinner at dinner time, so I have lunch prepared for next day, we're going to go to our usual routine, which is I cook dinner and I cook enough leftovers for lunch. That saves on cooking time because, man, oh man, we've been spending a lot of extra time in the kitchen cooking because I had to cook lunch and dinner. And they've been different recipes. So that's been kind of tough, kind of tricky. So instead, we asked AI, for week 3, we asked the AI, we said, hey buddy, you know what? It's a little too much work for us to do both lunch and dinner in one night. Could you combine our lunches? I'm sorry, can you take our dinner from the night before and make it lunch the day after? And so I said, oh, sure. I'm adjusting quantities. And it adjusted the quantities. Well, actually, it didn't. It just said make double so you can have lunch and dinner. I mean, it kept me, usually I get 4 ounces of meat. Happy Healthy Wife gets, I usually get 7 ounces of meat. Happy Healthy Wife usually gets 4 ounces of meat. At least that's for chicken and for lean pork and for ground turkey and for, you'll notice I'm using ground turkey more. Notice using ground turkey more, a lot more chicken, ground pork. That's one thing. The recipes, because we're using lots of Chinese food, ground pork is a common ingredient, if you didn't know. Lots of Chinese dishes use ground pork. I mean, the leaner ones like a mapo tofu. Well, mapo tofu. You know, we call it mapo tofu, but it's mapo tofu. Anyway, so that dish uses ground pork. And I must admit, it wasn't terrible. I'm not a big fan of mapo tofu, but we didn't use the Szechuan peppercorns that cause the numbness in the mouth on it as well. What we didn't say, we just used the, what is that stuff called? Oh, it's one of the best Asian spices ever. If you can find it, it is really good on all of your hot and spicy dishes if you want. Lao Gan Ma. It's a really nice hot Asian spice. If you look at Guga, he did a steak coated in that hot sauce. It's a really lovely flavor and we like it. So we use that instead of some of the Szechuan peppercorns. If you haven't had those, they're the ones that will numb your mouth when you eat it. We're not very fond of the numbing feature, but we do like a little bit of spice. So we've been using that instead. But yeah, back to the ground pork. So the ground pork, you need to, we've ordered from an online grocery store called We, who delivers our Chinese food. Now, we do have Chinese grocery stores in the area, so I could go and buy ground pork that way. We've just been getting online. And honestly, if you don't like ground pork, you can just substitute ground turkey. It'll be just as lean, if not leaner than ground pork. So, you know, our ground pork is really lean, the one that we get. So we get some lean ground pork. So like, you know when you cook a really fatty beef, there's just so much oil involved. You have to drain off that oil. Like if you do a 75-25 fat to lean ratio, so much oil involved. But we've been switching to this AI diet. Instead, when like you cook a ground turkey, there's like no fat left over at all. I'm like, what? I was flabbergasted the first time I saw it. I'm like, what? There's no. Same when we did the pork. I'm like, what? There's like no leftover. It's kind of like doing a 95% lean beef. If you ever try that, you cook it in the skillet, there's no fat to drain because it just doesn't have fat in the meat itself. So that's one of the changes that we've had to do is the fatless stuff. Some of the highlights from week 2. They're not so good. We weren't too fond, I wasn't too fond anyway, of the Dan Dan Mian. So it's a nice dish. It used the ground pork. So that was the thing we had. We had ground pork there. And, you know, the spice, the Laoganma spice. We added that to it. The noodles, I wasn't too fond of the way that we just bought Dan Dan Mian noodles, like the normal ones, not the wheat ones. But I think next time if I do it, I would use the spaghetti wheat noodles, because it asks for wheat noodles, the original recipe, not the original recipe, but the original AI ingredients. Let me put it that way. AI gives me ingredients, and what I do, I have to go online to find a recipe to learn how to cook something. And that's generally how it's been working. I mean, I probably could have asked AI for the recipes, but it's a little, I don't need that. I mean, you might, you could ask AI, okay, give me some recipes for this dish, and I'm sure they provide the recipes all there, right there. Add extra pages to your weekly meal plan. Yeah, that's one thing I really do like. Again, I did find it very convenient that the meal plan came with an ingredient list sectioned off by like produce, proteins, grains. So it's really nice. It makes it easier to go to the grocery store and get those specific ingredients. So that part is really nice. So that's really good. But then, the recipes, again, you have to either know how to cook it. Like, I know how to cook shakshuka. I have a recipe. I've used one I really like. I'm going to have to probably cut out and not use the feta cheese that I often use instead. So it won't be as creamy maybe, because, feta cheese, creamy, salty. It's good cheese. I might use a little less than I usually do, maybe a tablespoon-ish, I don't know. But yeah, so I will use my shakshuka recipe. If you're not dieting, you can do my full shakshuka recipe. Wonderful recipe, love it. Get it on my website, happyhealthywife.net. Get it from my channel, YouTube channel. I have the recipe in my channel. It's a wonderful recipe. It tastes really good. If you love peppers, onions, tomato sauce, and the eggs, it's very, very good. Now you might notice I'm using green bell peppers because for some strange reason the grocery store I went to was out of red bell pepper. They didn't have a single one, so I substituted the green. Plus, green are cheaper anyway, so not a big loss. Other highlights from week 2. Let's see. Oh, lemon chicken orzo. Now, I couldn't find, it actually asked for wheat orzo, specifically wheat orzo, and unfortunately, I didn't find wheat orzo. I just used the white. But I must say, the orzo was a big hit for Happy Healthy Wife, myself, Happy Healthy Son, Happy Healthy Daughter, and Happy Healthy Mother-in-law. They all liked it. They're going, Happy Healthy Mother-in-law asked, what kind of rice did you use for this dish? And I kind of said, oh, it's not rice. It's noodles. They're cut really small to look like rice. And that is what orzo is, really small cut to look like rice. So we had that. And it was really good, something that certainly I can add to my rotation, something I'd never cooked before. So it's really nice to be able to find new dishes that I've never cooked before. I keep buying the chicken breast. Our grocery carries a really thinly sliced chicken breast, which is really nice. It cooks up really easily in my grill, which I'll show you in the next episode, how I grill some of the meats. It's a really nice way, and I'll let you on the screen. Basically, it's a George Foreman grill. It actually, believe it or not, it's a really nice way to grill, especially doing burgers. You want a nice burger, the meat just drains out. It's the same thing on a barbecue. Same thing on the barbecue as well. That's the other highlights from week 2. What was that? The stir-fried pork and water chestnuts. So we had the ability to get fresh water chestnuts. I must tell you, I have done the non-fresh water chestnuts before. I used to do water chestnut dish. I'd go to the grocery store, buy the canned version of water chestnuts. I put them in the dish, and it was like one of my least favorite parts of the Chinese dish, honestly, was the water chestnuts. But I must tell you, my wife got them fresh from Weee, W-E-E-E. I'm not advertising for them, but if they want to sponsor me, I would be glad to accept a sponsorship from Weee. But so they're a nice online grocery store. They got lots of Chinese things you can't really get in an American store if you live in an area with Chinese grocery stores nearby. And you can always order from Weee because they just pick it up at a Chinese restaurant and bring it to Chinese restaurants. Actually, it's funny. Like you can get dishes through them and they just get them from a Chinese restaurant. Or you can buy the produce and they get it from a Chinese grocery store. Same idea. So that's Weee. Good. And they gave us some fresh water chestnuts. And I must say, I was absolutely impressed at those water chestnuts. They were very tasty, very flavorful. went well with the minimal sauce. You know how Chinese is often some sort of soy sauce involved, and yes, there was soy sauce, I'm sure, and some other things, maybe some vinegar, different things that go into it. So that was wonderful. It was nice. It was a good dish. Another dish we had that we liked from week 2. Oh, the salmon. Let me explain the salmon a bit. So I cooked salmon for the family. Again, there was never any how-to cooks. I had never really cooked salmon before because that's not one of my favorite things to cook is fish. I usually don't cook fish at all. But, you know, for this new diet, I'm okay with salmon. It's not terrible. I mean, you might see I have a fish taco recipe in my channel. And, you know, I'm okay with fish from time to time. Not my favorite, but if you'll notice, this salmon, I have no real knowledge of how to cook it. So what I do, ask Google. Hey Google, what do you know? I'm looking for a salmon recipe. How can I bake some salmon? And of course, what happens, you know, Google will give me like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different recipes or so. That's what happens. Then I get to choose one of those recipes, or I combine them, or I look for commonalities in them and decide which one I want. Now I already had the sauce, supposed to be teriyaki sauce. I bought some teriyaki sauce to put on. I've used teriyaki sauce before because Happy Healthy Wife loves.
Season the fillets and cook them at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 12
Sorry
to
about
15
that.
minutes until the fish flakes.
I knew that was going to happen.
Since you already have a sauce.
There you go. It was recording what I was saying and decided, oh, let me tell you what to do. Yeah, you got to watch out when you say the magic words that turn on Google. Anyway. So I had the sauce, like it said, and I just needed the recipe and just needed the way to cook it. So I cooked it that way. I have the teriyaki sauce. It's Happy Healthy Wife loves a good teriyaki burger. So that's why I have some teriyaki sauce already in the refrigerator. Just light amount, not much. You know, keep it light. Don't put a lot of sauce. So you know, just a little bit of flavor. And one thing they told me about my salmon cooking, I'm like, oh, wow, you cooked the salmon really well. All I did was follow Google's advice on it. It's like, you cooked the salmon really well. It's never been cooked that way before. Happy Healthy Wife usually skillets it, puts it in a skillet and cooks it that way. Like, it was flaky and tender, and they didn't really like the sauce, but they just loved the flaky and tenderness of the salmon I had cooked. Like, huh, that's interesting. So, you know, don't be afraid to Google a recipe, or, you know, if you're going to use AI. We're personally using Claude. If you're not familiar with Claude, my wife's familiar with Claude. She's the one that got it for us, so I'm not sure why she chose Claude specifically. That's the one we've been using. So all these plans that come out are coming from Claude, and we're pretty impressed so far. You know, it basically is telling us what we need to know. And one thing you will say about AI, and I've seen this before in different things, different realms, it'll say, like, if you're asking about financial health, it'll say, I'm not a financial advisor. When you're asking for this diet, so it says, I'm not a nutritionist. So it's telling you up front, you know what, you might want to talk to the experts. But here, or you talk to a doctor about, before going on this diet, it did say that to me. But, you know, I said, you know, I've done diets before, you know, I've done nutrition analysis before. You know, it's not like we're cooking a whole new set of foods. A lot of these foods are stuff I've cooked anyway, shakshuka, for example. But we're just modifying the recipe slightly to make it a little more healthy, a little less unhealthy, a little less fat involved. And as well, the other thing is we're sizing down our portions. That's the other thing that's really helped us with telling us exactly how much meat and how much breads to consume with each dish you're making. So sometimes it'll be bread, sometimes it'll be rice, because we do like rice. We're using a brown rice that we like. It's a rice concoction Happy Healthy Wife creates from a few different sources of different kinds of rice and grains. And I love it, so we keep doing that one. And she keeps doing that. That's my vegetable prepared. Let's finish up with the, let's see, okay, the salmon was good. Oh, another new dish that I never cooked before, but I put there is chicken adobo. Chicken adobo. I never cooked it before, but I could like, I like that sauce. That's a pretty good sauce. You know, so I'm getting lots of new sauces from using AI, lots of new meats that I've never cooked before, new ways to cook foods that I haven't cooked before, new techniques. But that also helps that I'm using Google to supplement the AI suggested menu, the suggested amounts of meat. You know, sometimes we will substitute, like I said, one of the things is substitute cottage cheese. Happy Healthy Wife does not like cottage cheese. I'm okay with it, but she does not like it. So instead, we'll substitute one of the other snacks, like the Greek yogurt and other stuff like that. So we'll substitute different foods when we need to, and we'll look at the different calorie inputs that'll be there. But otherwise, it's going good. And next week we'll see what to do, how it goes, because we're gonna switch it to cook once, eat twice, which will definitely reduce the time. But I will say one other thing I have noticed, especially this time, was that I decided it'd be better to prepare the size amounts of meat before I put it in the freezer, before I put it in the refrigerator. So that's taking a little extra time last week, especially with all the ground turkey I bought, Costco round, so pounds of ground turkey, pounds, like 4.5 pounds. So I had to separate it all up into 4-ounce packages, 5-ounce packages, 8-ounce packages. So I just separated it all up, and that took some time. So I did the same with some of the other meats that I bought. Since we bought at Costco, we bought in bulk, took a little time there. So that took a little time, but you know what? We're gonna see if the results are worth it. The weight thing, again, haven't weighed ourselves this time yet. Haven't seen if I've lost any or haven't noticed any loss of weight. It's only week number 2. Maybe I've lost a few pounds, maybe not. Hard to say. You're supposed to lose, I think my diet was 1 or 2 pounds a week. That would make sense, because if I do like 8 pounds a month-ish, 6 to 8 pounds a month, then that would take me, how long does it take to 50 pounds? If it's 8, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6 months, which is about the right track. So maybe, about 2 pounds a week I'm still losing, but we'll see. We'll check it out in week 3, and I promise you I will weigh myself and see if there's an actual difference.